My friends, welcome to this episode of the TOGR Review. I hope you all are doing well. What I have here is a brand new tent from OneTigris. This is the Mona, and the company claims that this is a one-person ultra-light tent. After looking at the pictures of this tent, I can tell you all that this does feature a unique design. Wait until you see it. Not only does this tent feature a unique design, but it features a unique color set, especially for OneTigris. This is very much different. My name is Luke. This is the TOGR Review. The preview begins now. Here we have the storage bag for the Mona tent. It has a roll top up here at the top. Down at the bottom, it has a grab handle. It does say Mona on this tent. That's because I took a Sharpie and I wrote this on here. For some reason, OneTigris refuses to put the names of their products on the storage bags. They used to do it, and then they stopped. In my opinion, they need to go back to doing this. Because if you have more than, say, one green tent or two Coyote brown tents, you can easily get them confused. Anyways. We have a roll top up here at the top, like I said. And here we have the tent itself. We have two corded compression straps, which I absolutely hate. These are essentially garbage. You take them off, you lose them, or you throw them away. Here we have the tent stakes and guy lines. Here we have the poles and setup instructions. We have the fly, and we have the body. And additionally, we have a ground sheet. That's right, folks, a ground sheet is included with the Mona. Let's take a look at the tent stakes and the cordage bag. We have 3 guy lines and 6 tent stakes. Now we're going over to the pole bag. Here we have the aluminum pole system. And on the inside of this bag here, we have the setup instructions. Let's go ahead and let's set up the Mona tent real quick, starting with the ground sheet. With the body being attached to the pole system, I want you all really to focus on the poles themselves. What we have here is a Y setup, and then it goes for one single pole that goes all the way across. Then off to the side here, we have this cross member which spreads out the body. This is an interesting placement for this. And in general, this is an interesting setup for a tent. It's highly unique. And it totally works. Once the tent is staked out and the poles are set up, the body's attached, the body itself pulls out 100%, giving you the maximum amount of space inside of this tent. With the Mona, this is a one-person tent and it features one door. You have a zipper that goes up for one side and a zipper that goes across for the other. This tent features a bathtub floor that sticks up roughly 8 inches. Up top, we have a mesh pocket, and on the sides of the tent where your head would go, you have 2 additional mesh pockets. Additionally, everybody, we have this zipper here, which gives you access to the other side of the tent, namely the vestibule area. Additionally, on the inside of the tent, there are 2 hanging hooks. Before going any further, let's go ahead and measure the inside dimensions of this tent, starting at where your head would be. The tent is 35 inches. In the middle of the tent, you're looking at 31.5 inches. Down at the foot box, 29 inches. The height at the foot box, 15 inches. The center height of this tent, 39 inches. And the overall length of this tent is 88 inches, which is 7 feet 2 inches. With that being said, to be comfortable inside of this tent, you need to be 6'2" or less. Otherwise, your feet and your head would be touching the walls. I tell you what, everybody, we should talk about the elephant in the room, the big problem with this tent that I see already. This is a 3-season tent, meaning that this tent was designed to be used in the warmer months. But yet, with the design of this tent, this really is more of a 3+ season, a hybrid tent. And that's because the company has used so much fabric on this tent. Unfortunately, they did not do a full mesh body, but instead they used a ton of fabric. The back side of the tent is half fabric. Along the body here, we have more fabric. Down at the foot box, more fabric. Luckily, we do have an all mesh door, but here in the corner, we have more fabric. Up at the top of the tent, more fabric. You might be wondering why fabric is a bad thing, and it's because of this. Fabric limits airflow, and at the same time, it holds in heat. So inside of this tent, you're only going to get airflow through that mesh. But at the same time, the fabric material is going to block all breezes coming into this tent. This really is a big problem for this tent because the simple truth is it's not going to be as cool as it should be in the summer months. It's going to hold in heat, it's going to block air, it's going to block a breeze. This, in my opinion, is a big shame, and it's a big miss by OneTigris. As you all can see here, the fly has been put on. I can tell you all that there are some issues here. First off, on this side where your head goes, the fly goes right up against the body. So when you have condensation building up here, it's gonna come down, it's gonna drip on the side of the tent and will likely come into contact with the side of the tent. Not only is it an issue with condensation, but this limits airflow greatly. Next, this tent features 3 tie-off points for guy lines. But here's the problem. Once the tent has been set up and staked out, you only have 1 tent stake remaining. You do not have enough tent stakes to guy the tent out. I do like the fact that the fly doesn't go all the way down to the ground, so you can get some airflow underneath this tent. That is definitely a good thing. Coming over here to the front of the tent, we have a storm flap over the zipper. The door rolls back, providing you access to the vestibule space, and also the doorway. Before I begin going over my thoughts and impressions of this shelter so far, let's go over some stats. So again, this is a 1-person tent. It is semi-freestanding, meaning that you can set this up without any tent stakes, but if you want the best pitch, you have to use tent stakes. The color of this tent is beige and white. And as far as the materials go, we're looking at a fly that is made from a 20 denier Ripstop nylon that has been silicone treated. It features a 40 denier bathtub floor that I believe is nylon. We have a 20 denier nylon mesh, a 75 denier footprint, 7001 aluminum poles, aluminum tent stakes, and YKK zippers. The fly features a 3000mm hydrostatic head rating. The floor features a 2000mm hydrostatic head rating. When the tent is stored, you're looking at 19.3 inches by 7 inches by 5.9 inches. And going over to the weight, we're looking at 3.6 pounds on my scale. The price of this shelter is $180. Now everyone, I want to touch upon 2 claims that the company makes. First off, they claim this is an ultralight shelter. At 3.6 pounds for a 1-person tent, this is not an ultralight shelter. For it to be classified as an ultralight shelter, it needs to be under 2 pounds. And again, this is 3.6 pounds. Now, luckily, the size of this tent is quite large. If you're 6'2" and under, you can make this work. It's wide and it's also tall. Next, the company claims this tent has very good airflow. Now, unfortunately, that's not the case because the company used so much fabric on the body. I really wish they didn't do that because they've really held back this product. The thing is this, folks. Oftentimes, you'll set your tent up where you get good airflow coming through the door, right? But oftentimes, the wind direction changes. So in the middle of the night, let's say the wind is coming this way towards your head where you're sleeping at. It's not going to be able to make it, first off, underneath the fly or through that fabric material. The same applies for the rest of the tent. The tent has fabric material in all the wrong places, and unfortunately it's going to make the tent hotter and less comfortable. Continuing on with my impressions of this shelter, the quality is excellent. I see no loose threads, everything looks good as far as the stitching goes, I see no problems. The setup process is very easy. The breakdown process is going to be very easy. Inside of the tent, there's a good amount of space, and you also have quite a few pockets. When it comes to the storage bag, it is large enough to fit the tent inside of it easily. When you're out on a trip, you're rolling everything up, you can easily get it to fit inside of that storage bag because it's oversized. That's smart. The design of the tent overall is very good. Unfortunately, the choices that the company made as far as the materials go, namely with the body, those are poor. Why did the company go this route? Obviously to save money. That fabric material is less expensive than mesh. To me, it feels like the company was having to cut corners to keep the cost low for this shelter. Starting off with the compression straps on the tent. They're made from fabric. Everybody just throws those away. Typically, OneTigris doesn't do this. Next, there's a shortage of tent stakes. You don't even get enough tent stakes to guy this tent out. And then you have the fabric that's all over the body. OneTigris, what are you doing? What are you thinking? This simply just does not make any sense from the perspective of a 3-season high quality tent. You know, going back to the fabric, yes, it's less expensive, and at the same time, it increases the weight of this shelter. So we have a 1-person tent that weighs 3.6 pounds, which again is not ultralight. Going back to the design of the tent, the fly pulls away for the most part from the body, so you should get some airflow going underneath that. That's good. That's going to help with condensation. But then we have the fabric along the body, and that negates some of the pros there, some of the benefits. I will say this, everybody, the stored form factor is not bad. The weight of the tent itself is not bad. It's not ultralight, but it's not heavy either. 3.6 pounds, that's not bad by any means. Also, the quality of the materials for this tent feel very, very nice, very premium. Next, there are no vents when it comes to the fly, and that's going to limit airflow and ventilation. Talking about price, at $180 for this tent, this is fairly expensive. And this is especially true when you compare this to other OneTigris tents. I mean, they have 2-person tents that cost less than this. This is a 1-person tent at $170. That's not ultralight. That has a lot of issues here. It goes back to the question that I asked earlier. What is the company thinking? If you look at a competitor to this company, Nature Hike, for an example, you can find 1-person tents for about $86. $100 less expensive roughly. To wrap up my preview of this tent, I am going to say that I am rather disappointed with what OneTigris has done here. They have cut so many corners here to keep the price low or to keep profits up, I'm not sure which one. But in the end, this product is simply not as good as it could be. And that's where my disappointment comes from. And folks, that is my opinion. What is yours? Comment down below, share your thoughts. What do you all think about the OneTigris Mona? What do you all think about the color scheme? We have white and brown, or the company says beige, whatever. In my opinion, the tent itself looks pretty good. There's a good foundation here, right? The overall design of this, as far as the pull system goes, it's good. The fly system, for the most part, it's good with the exception of the head box here. I love the fact that you can access the vestibule on the other side of the door with that zipper. That's super smart. But then again, the tent has so many issues. Let me put it this way. I would not purchase this tent until I have fully tested it out. Let me test it out for airflow, condensation control, and of course waterproofness. All of that is coming up soon, folks. I do want to say thank you to OneTigris for sending this tent in for me to test out. Honestly, I do appreciate that. That is an aspect to this company that I really do appreciate. Over the years, I've criticized them quite a bit, but at the same time, I've been very much fair. And when they have a product that really excels, I say so. What I see here with this tent, I'm not a fan of. And hopefully the company can make some corrections, make some fixes in the future. They can take this constructive criticism and use it to their benefit. If you have found this episode helpful, hit the thumbs up. I do appreciate it. Everybody, take care, be well, strength and honor. Bye for now.